Okay, hopefully this stays. Welcome back, everybody, to Euphoric Consciousness. I hope you guys are doing well today. I am doing very well, so I'm spreading my positivity to you guys. For anyone who's having a rough day, my thoughts are with you, and we are all here for you. So, today, I wanted to talk to you guys about generational personalities. Generational personalities are almost the same thing in the sense of like generational curses. If you believe in that stuff, well, whether you believe it or not, it is real because things are passed down through like genes, DNA. So there is, in essence, curses, if you may, that will be passed down to you individually from your mom and your dad. And the thing about that is their curses or their personalities come from their parents, and their parents come from, your parents have generational personalities that have come from their parents, and their parents have the same personalities too. So we continuously go down through the cycle of generational personalities, not ever realizing it. And think about it in like the sense of what is the term, hereditary, like alcoholics. Essentially is they're passing down that habit, that pattern of being an alcoholic or a problem drinker. Like that is passed down. And even if it's not, say if you come from a family or you're born and your dad doesn't drink or whatever, but he still does something to ease his stress. It doesn't matter if it's alcohol, it doesn't matter if it's coffee, it does not matter if it's it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's taking away from who you are as a person and creating this habitual pattern that creates a certain personality. That's a generational personality. So if you can notice the same thing with your parent and their dad or mom, that's a generational personality. So me and my brother were talking about this the other day, and I was talking to him about how our dad specifically is very much like his dad, and how his sister and his brothers are all very, very similar in the sense that they all have pretty much the same personality. And I was like talking about it, and I was like, it's really interesting that so many people on this earth don't realize that they are all the same in the context of having very similar traits within their family. And I was really just asking him, I was like, why is it like this? Like, is this just a trait of humans, or is this a subconscious state that we feed subconsciously? And the reason why I was asking about this was because, like I said, we were just talking about how our parents are very similar to their parents, and in the sense that we were just talking about our dad, and how he's been kind of like in this mindset for a very long time and still is in that mindset, and how his sister is still the same too. It's not even like a bad way. I'm simply just saying that they're all very similar within personalities. And I was really just thinking, I was like, it's so shocking to me that people don't realize this, and that they aren't actually very different from one another, and that they're pretty much the same with just a few differences within each other. Just a few differences. Nothing. Not a large difference, but they're very, very similar. And I've been thinking about this for a while too, because I had noticed in myself that I was very, very much like my dad and very, very much like my mom. I had very many similarities between the two, and I did not like that. I really didn't, because I did not want it to be associated with their toxic traits that I was expressing in myself towards other people. And by being hyperconscious or self-aware, whatever you want to call it, really the same thing, I was able to notice these personalities. And then I had made up this, I guess I've never heard this, I said it myself to Nehemiah, my brother, that, man, I kind of had these generational personalities. And like I said, I've never heard that before. So comment down below if that's something you've heard before. If it's not anything you've heard before, then I guess I made a new term, which is kind of cool. But I just did not like that. I really, really didn't like it. And once I became aware of it, then I was able to start changing that, and I started picking up on the small details, the small personality traits that came from my parents, and through that, I've come to realize that when you get annoyed or frustrated or irritated, that is simply a self-reflection of who you are as a person. And I was able to connect that to my parents and the traits that I had from them. I'm like, why am I allowing this to be who I am when I want to be uniquely different? Because I'm a unique human being. I am different from everyone. But at that period of my life, I was very similar to who my parents were, and I hated that. I hated it so much, and I just did not want to be associated with their traits. And it's not a bad thing, because obviously I'm still similar to them, but I no longer associate myself with those toxic traits anymore, and I've allowed to free myself and to create my own personality, essentially. And like, I really think it's important to know that like, we are uniquely different, each and every one of us, and we have all the opportunity and all the choice to become aware of this, to make yourself exactly who you want to be. And part of euphoric consciousness is spreading this message of really being an individual being, that you are not the same as me or the person you're fighting with or the person you're in love with, that we are so different from one another, and that is a beautiful thing. And I love that so much, because no one should be the same in this world. We should never have the same personality, just because that creates the same structure in terms of living the same lives, thinking the same way, acting the same way. Oh, my jaw keeps cracking. And part of euphoric consciousness and my mission for you guys is to free your mind from being in that category of being so alike to other people. You know, I mean, right now in this world, there are so many people who are stuck in this thought process of just being a very small-minded person. And I'm like, I understand, I really do, but I want to be able to spread messages in the sense like, you can be different. You don't have to think the same. You don't have to agree with everything. You need to make your own decisions. You need to make your own thoughts. You need to do your own research. You need to read different books. You have to be separate from everyone else, man. And by being separate, we're also at the same time the same, if you understand what I'm saying. Because we're the same because we're all trying to explore different routes or paths in life. But we're not the same on the context of personalities. So this brings me to my final point is, you have to be who you want to be. You have to act as who you want to be. And when I was breaking down those personalities, I had to think about who I really wanted to be, and I had to think about how I wanted to react to frustrations, to irritations, and I had to visualize who I really wanted to be in those situations, rather than continuously acting the same way, continuously acting in that generational personality. And by doing that, I've created my own unique personality, to the point where if I am frustrated or irritated, I remember this is just a self-reflection of who I am. That's not them, that's you being irritated and frustrated with yourself, essentially. And you can take that and transmute that into creating a whole new person, your unique individual self. And I just love that so much, because I've freed myself from that generational personality, and now I'm completely my own person. And I feel so much better, because I'm not held down by my parents' personalities anymore. I'm not held down by their baggage. I'm not held down by their issues, by their frustrations or irritations. As a self-reflection, I'm able to dissect myself out of that, to allow myself to be free, to not react anymore, and to become who I want to be. So for you guys, ask yourself, am I like my parents? Look at your parents' parents and see what the similarities are between them, and then take that and look at yourself and your parents. And if you can find similarities between the two, and really ask yourself, is that really what I want to be like? Is that who I want to be? And it's not a problem. If you want to be like that, then great, that's fine. Because at that point, it's not a problem. But you got to ask yourself, like, do I really want to be like that? Is that someone who I want to be? Is that how I want to react? And obviously, I know most of you are going to say no, because no one wants to be the same, let alone react in a negative or irrational way. So and by getting to that point, you have to be willing to accept those things. You have to be willing to acknowledge it and take responsibility to be the one to break that generational personality. You know, it's like the same thing as breaking generational curses is hereditary alcoholics. The reason why so many of them are alcoholics is because it's a generational curse that's being passed down from the father to the son or the daughter, and it's a continuous cycle because it's being passed down in your genes, in your DNA. But not even that, it's being passed down into your spirit, your soul. And the reason why it's so hard and why it's so easy for them to get caught up in that hereditary pattern is because it's part of them, and they have to completely break it down, and they have to become uniquely different. That's why when alcoholics are at the point of just like, they're like, I'm so over this, I'm done, like I'm ruining my life, I'm ruining other people's life, is because they're breaking apart from that generational personality. Do you understand? It's so hard for them because it's been a thing that's being passed down from generation to generation to generation. That's why it's so hard, and that's why for so many of you with anxiety and stress and fear, it's because it's a generational thing that's being passed down from your parents to you. So it's not easy to do this. It's really not. But to make it easier is just by being so self-aware, by really being honest with yourself, taking responsibility for yourself, not playing that victim role, because the victim role is the worst thing you could possibly do to yourself, because that gives you an excuse to be who you are, to give yourself slack, when reality is you just got to take charge. That's it. No excuses, no BS. Just change. Be as you want to be, and you will be that person. You know, so it's almost like the health of a seed is the bearer of the fruit. So depending on how healthy the seed is of whatever fruit you're trying to plant, that will determine the taste of the fruit, the nutrients of the fruit. So you have to be willing to have that healthy mindset of understanding this to be able to bear that unique personality that you want. And through that, you will become uniquely divine. And it's so cool because once you kind of understand that term, like divine, I know it's like super like wishy-washy, spiritual, whatever, but there is a thing about that word divine that really does make things special, and really be able to connect the outer world to your inner world, to have a connection with nature and your own personality, is just something super special. Because once you get to that point, you can really start to open up your mind and your heart and be exactly who you want to be, rather than having a generational personality. So if you guys like the video, please give me a like down below. I would really appreciate it. Comment what you guys think about this. Again, I don't know, I've never heard someone ever say generational personality. I'm sure it's out there. I'm definitely not the first one to say it, but if it is the first time you guys heard that, let me know down below. I think that'll be really interesting. Also comment too, just if you have experienced anything like this. I would love to talk. I really like hearing your guys' story, and I'm not trying to get you guys just to comment to get more comments. I could care less about that. I don't care about likes, dislikes, whatever. I genuinely want to have a conversation with you guys. So yeah, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and I will catch you in the next video. You guys have a great rest of your day, and may peace be over your soul. And yeah, take care, guys.